You never know when you're going to get a flat tyre or even a sudden mechanical when you're out on your bike. So it is crucial to be prepared. But in this video, I'm going to give you a quick crash course on what you need to take out on your bike and how to store it on your bike or on you. Let's get cracking. First up, let me list off some of the things you're going to want to take with you on the bike. And this first list of things are the bare minimum that you're going to want to take. And first up, very self-explanatory, a pump. You can have your tube, you can have your tyre levers, a multi-tool, you can have everything, but apart from one of these, you're not going very far because you won't be able to pump up your tyre. But yeah, always worth having one of these on your bike. Next up, you're going to want a tube, especially if you're running tubes on your bike. You want to take 1, 2, 3 might be an overkill, but at least have 2 because you never know, you might double puncture. So you want to make sure they're the right size and you want to make sure it's the right valve length as well, so you can actually pump up your tyre, especially if you're running quite deep section wheels. Otherwise, you might want to take a valve extender with you. Now you can actually get smart tubes as well, and these tend to pack up a little bit neater and smaller in your pockets there. This is actually one for a gravel bike, but you can get road ones and they're just a little bit more compact, so that might be worth considering. Now next up, something that I will never leave the house without. It is a multi-tool. Now these ones are pretty small, compact ones that are perfect for fitting in your saddlebag or putting in your back pocket. This one especially I like, it's quite flat and neat. And this one actually comes with a neat little case that you can put in, and then when it's in your back pocket, even if you crash, hopefully you won't, it's kind of nice and protected and it's not going to hurt. So these are always worth having with you. They can fix 90% of the problems you have on your bike, because let's be honest, there's a lot that can go wrong on your bike and a multi-tool will probably fix it. So make sure you have one of these with you at all times, no matter where you're going. And one last thing on the multi-tool, some of them can work magic and fix everything. Now this one actually has like a tyre lever on there, it's got a tubeless repair plug, but you can also get some that have chain tools on there as well, so it's worth investing in a good multi-tool. Now unless you have very tough, strong hands, you're going to want tyre levers, and I don't like chipping my nails, so I always take tyre levers, and in my opinion they're just a lot easier when it comes to getting your tyre off, especially in the winter when it is mucky and wheels are filthy. You don't want to get horrible hands, so tyre levers is a must for me. Now this one is especially important if you're running tubeless. You're going to want a tubeless repair kit. Now this one is from Topeak and it's really nice and compact. It's got the plug and then it's got the tyre seal in there, and you can just fit that into your back pocket. Nice and neat. You never know when you're going to need it. So those are the very bare minimum that I would always take out on the bike, and will get you out of most tricky situations. But the next few things I'm going to show you are optional extras that you might want to consider taking with you. Now, for those times where you double, triple punctures and you just don't have enough tubes with you, this is going to come in really handy. A patch kit comes with lots of different patches and some sandpaper as well, and the instructions all in there. Very, very compact, so there's no excuses why you can't take this with you, because it'll definitely fit in your saddlebag or your back pocket or wherever you choose to take it. And it's always handy to have, especially if you're riding with a group, someone's forgotten their inner tube and they can't change their flat tyre, you can just say, oh, have one of these. So always handy to have. A gas canister is also really handy to have, nice and compact, and especially good if you're doing events or sportifs where you don't want to be stood on the side of the road pumping up a tyre for 5 minutes. You can just whip this out and it'll inflate your tyre to a really good pressure in a number of seconds. And even if you're just riding with a group, or even in the winter when your hands are cold, you just want to get back riding, just whip this out, pop it in, your tyre's inflated and you're good to go. So optional extra. Some little chain links, some quick links are always handy to have, because you never know when you're going to put out so much power that your chain snaps. And obviously these are very little, so I'm going to show you a hack a little bit later on in this video on how to store these, but just make sure they're the right ones for your chain as well, because it'd be pretty useless having them and they don't fit your chain. Next up, a pair of rubber gloves, especially handy in the winter or when your chain is just not clean, but hopefully your chain is clean all the time. Obviously you can wrap them up really small, put them in your back pocket, put them in your saddlebag, and they're just always there for when you need them. Or you can actually put your tube inside the glove, and then that kind of gives a layer of protection for the tube as well. Next, something you might want to consider is a spare cleat bolt. Now, we've seen it before, we've seen it in races where shoes have snapped or the cleats have come undone and you're out, and it can be quite uncomfortable. Unless you're Mathieu van der Poel and you can ride with no cleat, then you might want to consider taking one of these. You never know when it's going to come in handy. You might be sitting in your bag or your saddlebag for a year and you might not need it, but one day your cleat might break and not come in handy. And again, it's really small, so no excuses not to take it with you. You might want to take some tyre boot stickers with you as well. If you get a nasty slit in your tyre or a big hole, pop that on the inside and it'll sort it right out. And last but not least, some tape. Now, pretty much all the hacks on hack/bodge have been with a bit of tape. So you can use this to stick things back together, to hold things in place, to stick things to your bike. It'll solve a lot of problems. So just put it in your saddlebag and leave it there, because it will come in handy, trust me. And that is everything that you might possibly need when you're out on a bike ride. And most of these things should cover most situations. Right then, now that you have all the equipment you need, the next hurdle is, how do you carry it all? Well, you'd be glad to know there are a few options when it comes to this, but I'm going to start off with one of the most popular options, the good old-fashioned saddlebag. Now, there's lots of different shapes and sizes when it comes to saddlebags. I've got a big one that you can fit pretty much everything inside. You can get minimalist ones, which are a little bit smaller, that you can kind of just fit your tube and a few other bits and bobs in. But with this big one, it kind of attaches with some clips on the side. You've got some Velcro, it's very secure, and you can fit your kitchen sink inside. I've got some snacks in there, pretty much everything you need. They're really easy accessible with a zip as well, and you can't go wrong. Next one is your jersey pockets. Now, most cycling jerseys will have 3 pockets in the back, and you can fit a fair amount in them. So you could easily fit a pump, tyre levers, and a tube in your back pocket nicely. But I'm not a massive fan of this, just because, well, especially over cramming your jersey pockets, and you go and gap the saddle and things kind of move around, nothing ever falls out. I just prefer not to have a load of stuff in my jersey pockets. A phone, my keys, and a few snacks is fine. I prefer to put the rest on my bike, but if you haven't got a saddlebag, you might like this option. Now, when it comes to your pump, you might be running a small saddlebag and your pump might not fit in. So where are you going to put it? Well, there are a few options for your pumps. Some people have frame pumps, which are essentially a lot larger pumps. They're probably this big and they fit right under your top tube, and they kind of jam themselves in between your frame. That is a great option. It's a bigger pump, it'll pump up your tyres quickly, but it does, it's an accessory on your bike. You can also get an attachment that attaches to your bottle cage, which then you can clip your pump to. That's really neat and out the way. But personally, I just put mine in my back pocket if it doesn't fit in my saddlebag, and that's absolutely fine. But you don't always have to have a pump. You could take a CO2 canister, but you know this pump is never going to run out of air. Now, it's not only saddlebags that come in handy for carrying your spares, but all sorts of bags that go on your bike. You've got your handlebar bag, you've got frame bags, you've also got bags that kind of attach onto the handlebars as well. They're all good for carrying your spares. And if you're anything like Connor, he swears by the handlebar bag, but I think that's because the snacks are a lot easily accessible in a handlebar bag. But also a little trick that I like to use, and this one is especially good if you're going on a short ride and you only need 1 bottle and you have 2 bottle cages, is you get an old bottle, one that's gone past its sell-by date, it smells a little bit off. You can basically shove all of your spares in there. So I've got a tube, I've got tyre levers, got little accessories in there as well, also got a bit of tape. Shove it all in, shove the top on, shove it on your bike, and off you go. Very neat. You don't need any bags on your bike, so only shove anything in your back pocket. It's all in here, ready to go. Now, the tape doesn't only come in handy for fixing things. This is also a hack that I've seen actually a mountain biker do this before, when you have your spare links for your chain and you pop them on the bit of tape and then you just pop them to the bottom of your handlebars and you can tape it round and then they're there for a rainy day, because those quick links will quite easily get lost in your saddle. Now, if you do have a brand new bike, then some bikes have a really cool top-loaded storage system. Now, this is Connor's brand new Canyon, and it comes with pretty much all the tools you need in the top tube. Now, check this out. Look at all these tools, all in the top tube. Now, he's got Allen keys, he's got CO2 canisters, attachments, everything in there, all stored in his top tube. So he doesn't even need a saddlebag. How cool is that? So there you have it, all the things that you need to take on your bike and how to carry them as well. But did I miss anything? Let me know down in that comment section below. And if you have any of your own little hacks on how to carry spares on your bikes, drop them down there because we'd love to read them.